I thought that everything was robotized and that garments were made by robots or whatever. And then I discovered that no matter where you were in the world, in Pakistan, in China, in France, in the US, it was a man or a woman behind a sewing machine assembling pieces of a garment. And I realized that it was so archaic, and I thought maybe we could do something more.
Visits to the local tailor aren't as common as they once were. The focus is on mass-produced garments that ideally fit our body type as best as possible. We are short, tall, slight, and large, and clothes require complicated adjustments to fit a diverse population. But though designers and tailors are working hard at major clothing companies, also at other suppliers such as the military and sports sectors, they're working without the customers to measure. In this edition of UpTech Report, I talk with Audrey-Laure Bergenthal, the founder and CEO of Euveka, who realized that the industrialization of clothes had only occurred at the production end, not the design end. What if there was a way to replicate that customer base that's gone missing, to give designers the proper framework to build on? The Biomimetic Robot Mannequin was Audrey's answer. Audrey, I'm excited to be able to chat with you today and hear more about Euveka and kind of the process and the growth that you've been experiencing with it. To start us off, can you go ahead and describe it in 5 seconds, very brief? What is it?
We have developed smart evolutive robot and software solution enabling brands to have a perfect match between production and customers. It means that you can produce garments and tell what really fit your customers.
Amazing. And this is, you started about 2011, so about 9 years ago, that's been on the journey. And this isn't your first business that you ran, correct?
It's not my first, but it's my biggest. Before it was like being in the kindergarten of entrepreneurship, and then it turned to be like being directly in high school.
Wow. The graduation.
Yes.
to the next level. So the concept of a robot mannequin and then software to kind of combine that and control it, where did that concept originate, and how did that, why did you start it? What was the problem that you saw? You're like, I need to make a robot mannequin that can change sizes.
I had the idea more than 15 years ago when I saw all those fast fashion stores opening all over the world and seeing me and my friends being dressed all the same, and I thought that one day we would all be fed up to be dressed the same. And I could hear also many customers' complaints, such as my mother every day, complaining that she would not find garments that would fit her well. And she's kind of really beautiful. She looks like a French actress, Catherine Deneuve. And I thought, okay, my mom is beautiful. And my sister was a model for haute couture, and she could not get dressed as well because in Europe, clothes are made for small people, if we can say so. And I thought, okay, they are beautiful. How does the rest of the world do? That was a bit stupid, but I said, okay, if beautiful people cannot get dressed, what happened to the rest of the world? And then I checked how garments were made, and I realized that we had a problem and then I realized I thought that everything was robotized and that garments were made by robots or whatever. And then I discovered that no matter where you were in the world, in Pakistan, in China, in France, in the US, it was a man or a woman behind a sewing machine assembling pieces of a garment. And I realized that it was so archaic, and I thought maybe we could do something more. And we could maybe integrate diversity into the process. And that is why I checked how garments were made and how we used to make garments when we were before the ready-to-wear industry, when we used to go to our tailor and ask for made-on-measure garments. And I thought, okay, we just need to industrialize the process of made-to-measure and to make it implementable into a ready-to-wear process. And I thought that was easy.
We were talking earlier about the concept of the idea is having two robot mannequins, one where the designer is fashioning, then where those who are actually creating it, and then your software connects the two so that you make sure that what they're actually creating is what you designed, and the measurements are always tied together. Is that the concept?
Yes. Our technology enables to first take into account a diversity of body and shapes, and not work on a uniform basis. And then it helps you work also with your suppliers, manufacturers at the same time, and checking that the volumes that you have given to your garments are perfect and equal wherever you are in the world. And during this crisis, it's more than useful, because then you have your team able to keep on working and not forced to travel.
So it helps both the workers not having to travel and bring physical new mannequins or objects, but they can just press a button and then their mannequin changes size to match what they need to create. Which I love your vision of clothing needs to match every body size, and to be able to move forward in this more customized world. People are expecting that. You also mentioned another use case where there are retailers, those who are selling it, but because they're bringing in all these different clothing and options around the world, sizes are different based on where you're coming from. So tell me more about this. How does it help standardization?
It helps, it helps standardization, or maybe not so much standardization, but identification, because brands have their own measurement chart and fit and style, and customers have issue identifying if the garment they like will fit them perfectly. So what we want to do is to help them know that the garments they are looking on the internet will perfectly match their morphology and shape.
So theoretically, as more and more people buying clothes online, they should be able to, very near future, just take a picture of themselves, and they would know what their body shape is, and then the online retailer should be able to quickly identify, say, this clothing is good for you or not, and exactly what size.
Exactly, that's my goal. We want to create a new system of validation, a kind of a norm that would say, if we say that it fits you, then it will fit you perfectly.
I love the picture of the future and the vision that you paint. Obviously, this has been a journey for you. What's kind of the steps that you've been taking? What's coming up next?
For them, now we are deploying on the retail side. We first decided to work with the manufacturing part of brands, and with the COVID crisis, we've been approached by the same customers that we have, or new one, that want to deploy our technology for online sales and boutique. As you know, at the time, shops are mainly closed or trying to open little by little, and people are frightened to try on clothes in shops. So they want to use our robots. So the robot will show them how the garment fit, and they won't be forced to try on the garment if they want to buy it. That's one of the new COVID use that we have experienced so far, and that is why we are driven and dragged into going to the retail part. And we've been approached also by major online platforms that want to have our technology in order to help, as you mentioned, customers to visualize themselves in different sizes.
It's the roadmap of how you're helping people has probably changed a little bit because of COVID-19. You probably had one direction, now you've shifted a little bit. Would you agree with that?
Yes, of course, we are forced to shift. We are forced to adapt also to the budget that brands have now, because they are in extreme suffering, and that is why we are trying also to lower our price and help them still make a change and be able to go through this terrible time. And help them also deploy in new steps where we were initially not ready to do it, but in the meanwhile of the lockdown, we work on that, and we should be ready pretty soon to deploy
Wonderful.
for online and retail
What
boutique.
your business model is it both a product based, buying the mannequin, the robot mannequin, as well as like a monthly software SaaS mentality? What does that work? How does that work for you?
We have a rental offer. It's all about subscription. We engage the clients with the standard offer, composed of the robot, software license, and maintenance service, and we engage them from minimum 1 year to 3 years, depending on how much they want to pay each month, and it's a way for them to be not burdened by the investment in their economics, and as they want more, as they want to have many units of robot, it's faster for them and easier and less painful to have subscription system.
Can you share any metrics of the kind of the customers of like you've been able to serve and it sounds like a monthly type of thing that they're utilizing you?
It's a very beginning. We had a rose interest from the press as we won the CES in 2019, but we were not into the sales phase. We've just entered this phase a few months ago, and we've already generated nice orders from Chanel, who is our historical partner, and also from Adidas Group. We have equipped them in Europe and in the US, and we are also working with major brands in the LVMH Group and the Kering Group, and some fast fashion brands also in Europe. For the moment, we are mainly working with Europe, and we are about to deploy in the US.
So tell me, going forward from here, what do you see as kind of the near term, end of this year, the next year, kind of what you're focused on, and then the long term in the next 5 years that your aim is for?
So in the next few months, we want to stay really careful and just focus on our domestic market in Europe, and continue negotiation and talks with the US part of our market, which is very enthusiastic about the technology, and then we expect to have our certification ready before the end of 2020 and be able to deploy in the US in 2021. So 2021 will be for the international expansion on both continents, and we will begin to be even more digital in 2021 with new app that we are currently working on to have a really powerful technology for online sales, enabling them to have a rapid impact on returns and unsold.
Be sure to check out part 2 of my conversation with Audrey, in which she considers some interesting cultural differences between starting a company in France versus the United States, and how that affected her approach.